There are a lot of things and materials that give off radiation in this world. In our world, you could say there are two different types of radiation. One of them is ionizing and the other one is non-ionizing radiation. Non-ionizing radiations are radiations that have big waves, but their power is a lot less, like the light you see, microwaves, or radio waves. These are radiation that are not deadly. But ionizing radiation is when it gets dangerous. Radiation like the X-ray, gamma ray, or radioactive radiation. These radiations kill you, give you cancer, poison you, and cause one of the worst deaths known to man. But don't be scared of the X-ray machines. They're a highly advanced machine and it's very controlled. It has a little effect, and that is why doctors don't let you go under the X-ray machine more than a couple times a year. But today we're not going to talk about X-ray or radiology, but we want to show you the dangerous ones, radioactive radiation. And we want to see why death with radioactive radiation is one of the worst. It's April 26, 1986, and the time is around 2 in the morning. And that's when an explosion happens in the nuclear plant in Chernobyl. A few minutes later, the firefighters are notified that they have to put out a fire, and they come to the plant. One of the first firefighters there was Vasily Ignatenko, a 25-year-old man. They thought that they're putting out a normal fire and didn't think of the disaster it's causing. Vasily was very young, and he didn't know that breathing in this area, life was not going to be the same after. They knew that it was a dangerous place, but they didn't take the explosion serious and they didn't know about the radiation. They would even joke with each other. They would say, if we're alive tomorrow, we're the lucky one. But these jokes turned to reality real quick. In that night, 27 firefighters worked here. All 27 of them were sick the next day, and all of them died a tragic death. If you know about Chernobyl, you know how bad this place was and how many people died around the world because of it. But we want to see what radiation did to these firefighters. We're gonna look at Vasily's life. They say the people that experience this much radiation at once, they're gonna die in a 4-stage process. The first stage is called the prodromal stage. Few hours after the radiation, throwing up and diarrhea start. They don't stop. And after a few days, blood is added to it. They would say that Vasily would throw up 25 times with blood. Vasily's wife is pregnant. When someone is suffering from radiation, nobody should be close to him, and if they are, they should have suits. But Vasily's wife would come next to him. A wife that has a child growing inside her. Day by day, new cuts and bruises appear on Vasily's skin. All his hair fall out. His skin tone gets whiter and whiter. This is the point where Vasily enters stage 2, a stage called ARS. In this stage, Vasily's hair started to come back a little bit, and he was feeling better and looking better. But that was not the case. These are the side effects of ARS. When stage 2 starts, the people around Vasily and himself become hopeful. But that was not the case, because after 2 days, it started to head downhill again. In this stage, the radiation is killing off every cell it finds. If it doesn't kill the cell, it damages the DNA and starts cancer. If we want to give radiation another name, we could call it no mercy. While it's damaging and killing cells and causing cancer, it's also eating the bone marrows. All the cuts that we were talking about are not healing, and they only get worse and worse. The skin starts to turn black and basically dries out, and slowly your skin starts to fall out. After 8 days, Vasily goes to stage 3. In this stage, no doctor or medicine is gonna help. Skin is falling off. Infections are found everywhere that it gets so bad that it literally shuts down the immune system of the body, and it doesn't do anything. When your immune system is not working, all your organs start to shut off as well. Like your lungs, liver, and heart all shut down. And stage 4 means death. All these 4 stages happen in 17 days. But let's hear about Vasily's wife. As we said, she was pregnant and she would visit Vasily. The Soviets really took this as a joke and wouldn't treat it as serious. They wouldn't even tell a pregnant woman to not visit someone suffering from radiation. Months after Vasily's death, his baby is born. But a baby that's born with cancer, and it doesn't survive for more than an hour. But this problem wasn't only for Vasily's wife. All the women that were pregnant in that area gave birth to sick children. Even though they didn't have cancer, but their child would have cancer. After this disaster, even people that were really far away from it, they would give birth to children with leukemia. Whatever we say about Chernobyl is not enough. One of the most dangerous and radioactive places is Chernobyl, and it's still one of the most dangerous places in the world. A lot of people died consuming the milk that came from cows around Chernobyl. A lot of mothers that lived around Chernobyl gave to babies that are really disturbing to look at. Like for example, babies with 2 heads, 6 fingers on one hand, 2 hearts, 3 legs, twins that were stuck together in the weirdest spot, and all other types of disaster. So we got to know the radioactive radiation, so we should stay away from it. If you haven't noticed, radioactive elements have insane colors. Like when it's in a glass, it's so beautiful you can't take your eyes off of it. You should know Marie Curie. She discovered polonium and radium, and they're both extremely dangerous elements, but very beautiful. If you look at them, you really can't look away. When you look at radium material, it has such a glowing green color that you can't stop looking at it. Even though she discovered them, she didn't understand the dangers of them. She would pour them in a glass and keep it with her at all times and look at it. These green colors, make Marie Curie get sick, blind, and die a tragic death. You could say Marie Curie died for science. She discovered these two elements, and with working with them, got sick and showed the world how dangerous these radioactive materials are. Another famous person that was killed with polonium is Alexander Litvinenko. He was a former KGB agent but had problems with Putin. And that is why they put a little bit of polonium on his teacup. This guy leaves Earth in the worst way possible. People would say that this was Putin's message, that if you're against him, you will die in the worst possible way. Explaining it is not fun, but Alexander died in the worst way possible. Now we understand how dangerous radioactive radiation is. But these radiations can fix sickness, help farmlands, create electricity, be the source of fuel for submarines and ships, and cooler than that, it could be the fuel source for space probes that can travel millions of kilometers. But Voyager doesn't have radioactive fuel, you should know that. Voyager's fuel is hydrazine, but most of its speed came from the gravity of the planets.